Hello, welcome back to live Q&A with me. I'm Pam with Perfectly Holistic, and it is Wednesday. Is it May the 6th already? I cannot believe we are already in May, but awesome that summer is right around the corner. So it's been a month since we've jumped on live for Q&A, and I hope you guys tuned in for our podcast that was released about 10 days ago. If you saw that, let us know what you thought. It was a pretty cool recording. We had to do a recording due to scheduling conflicts and things like that. So a lot has been going on. If you have been following me on Facebook and Instagram, I just want to give people a few minutes to kind of hop here. I want to say hello to some people that are jumping in on Instagram. We are streaming on our Facebook page, YouTube platform. You can drop comments there. And then we're also streaming live on Instagram. So let's talk about cats, and let's look at it through the lens of more of a holistic approach. So if I'm looking up here at my camera for all you Instagram people, so you're up here in Facebook and YouTube or on this camera, so bear with me as we go up and down. So yeah, I can see your comments on Instagram. So if you have questions, if you're curious about a topic that has to do with cats and maybe something your cat is struggling with, if you want to learn some ways to maybe look at things through more of a holistic lens instead of more of a diagnostic and medical side, because I am not a vet, so I'm not trying to give any kind of medical advice, but I just share the education that I have learned from amazing, very smart, integrative and holistic vets, as well as through my own experience working as a holistic health practitioner and the energy side of things. So I look at things through the lens of energy, frequency, and vibration, and it's fascinating what you can find that can sometimes be that missing link that the other aspects aren't tapping into, that can maybe shed some light and find a direction to focus on that needs to be addressed in order for full, true healing to occur. So with that said, let's talk about what's been going on. And I want to hear from you guys. So what are you struggling with in your family? Because I'm going to share a little bit about what we're currently struggling with in ours. It's been 4 months since we joined our families under one roof, and it's gone, I have to say, I'm not going to complain. It has been amazingly smooth overall. But one of the things that I remember specifically learning from Julie Ann Thorne with Naturally Cats is when you're talking about blending families, you have to go at the slowest pace, the slowest cat's pace. So whoever that is in your family that's kind of that holdout, the most resistant, the most fearful, the most aggressive, that's the cat's pace that you have to follow. And in our situation, we kind of have two. One is Breeze, that's my baby girl, and then one is Serena, that's John's baby girl. So, and females always get along in the cat world, and I don't know why that is, but it is a thing. So we are having to do a lot more intervention with Serena and Breeze, and it's not that they're fighting, it's just that they're getting in each other's space. And Breeze and Serena are super sensitive to their space, and so it's really interesting because they can be outside on the back patio and sitting in the chairs around, the patio table, and everybody's fine and happy, and they're just calm and chill and napping, and everyone's cool. And then I don't know what it is. They come inside and then they act like they haven't ever seen each other, especially Breeze, and she gets a little very offensive aggression, like she lunges, but she doesn't attack. She just lunges and stops and freezes and hisses, and makes some cries and things like that. And we've gotten to the point where we really keep an eye on them, especially when they're coming in and out of the house, because it's that pathway, right? So that doorway into the kitchen, that there can be a little bottleneck sometimes. So that can be a point of contention and a little stress. The other thing that I've noticed a lot of times is during mealtime, and I think it's about resources. They can be a little hesitant and a little hissy around mealtime. Everyone is in close proximity waiting for me to fix their food. And they can get a little impatient sometimes. And I think that just adds a little stress to the mix. So we're just having to really watch their body language and their behavior, and we kind of know what triggers them. So if we can separate them and make sure just keep some distance, that's very helpful. And then the other thing I'm having to do is put Breeze in timeouts. And I know that sounds crazy, but she just needs some decompression space. So I find either the bedroom, close the door, put her on her favorite little perch, and just give her some time to decompress. And then sometimes that might mean a few hours, and she takes a nap, and then she wakes up and she's all happy again, and she's not in that defensive fight or flight kind of space. So that's been very helpful. So we're also incorporating some playtime outside, which is fun because we've got the backyard. So we're taking the wand toys out there, and we're doing a lot more with that. We're really trying to give the weakest links, Serena and Breeze, that more one-on-one time and reassurance. I've had the herb garden down. We have colors throughout the house that they can gravitate towards. And it's interesting because I have a purple and brown blanket in the bedroom, and I find Serena sleeping on the purple blanket a lot. So that tells me that she's a little anxious, and she's just supporting herself with that color purple, which is awesome. So it's interesting when you start to observe where they're seeking out their solitude, what they're sleeping on. Well, speaking of Breeze, here she is. So you're going to say hi to everybody? I just fed them. I hope did you eat? I don't know if Skylar ate, but I think she ate. Serena hasn't eaten yet, but it is what it is. Hello, Angel. What are you going to do? You're going to come say hi to everybody? Say hi. This is Breeze, and she is my weak link right now. So we're being very sensitive to her feelings and trying to give them space. And I was reminded very gently I was doing don't laugh, inquiry with ChatGPT, having a little conversation about the whole mix of the cats, and oh my gosh, they're still getting upset with each other and this and that. And I was just gently reminded that 4 months is not a very long time. It feels like a very long time for humans, but I guess in the cat space, when you're trying to blend 6 cats together who have never lived together before in a new space, 4 months is really pretty good, considering we don't have any fighting, we don't have any blood drawn, no one's been injured. We've done the animal communication sessions, we've done all that kind of stuff. So we're doing all the things, but it's just going to take a little time. So I say all that to give you guys some hope, and try to look at things through the lens of the cat's perspective and put our expectations aside, because I have to remind even myself, and I'm in this business, I'm in it every day. I have to remind myself that we have to be patient. And, their pace is not my pace. And so I've got to remember that. But she seems really happy right now. Are you good? And she did not hiss at Serena when she came in a few minutes ago. So I'm very happy about that. So, yeah, we've had a lot going on over here. Thank you, Bonnie. She is referring to the fact that we just got married this weekend. So it's been a little crazy. We've had guests over, and what's very interesting is all the cats have been out and about. No one's hiding. Franklin's a little bit more distant with the people, but we've had people, stay with us, and we've had strangers come over, and the cats have been jumping on counters. They've been climbing on shoulders. They've been mingling with all of us inside and outside, sitting on the sofas. So I'm really thrilled, especially with this one, with Breeze, because she was the one who was the most scared of strangers in the very beginning. probably about 18 months ago. Remember, they grew up when it was just me and them in a household, and so they never saw people since they left their mama. So they're really coming around, and both she and Skylar are just in people's faces now. It's really great. And I'm so proud of you because you're making such good progress. Yes, yes, you are. And she she surprises me every day. She's just come so far. So I know she's doing the best she can with Serena and Franklin. There's, it's like having stepsisters and brothers and you never had them before, and then you have to learn how to be a family. So it's been very fun to see and experience, and it's been a good experience for me because I've never had to go through this before and introduce grown cats. I've always introduced kittens. I will tell you, hands down, kittens is so much easier. They are so much faster to be accepted because they're not viewed as a threat because they're small, which is great. So it's been a learning curve for us in a very good way. And the other thing that's about to come up, I mean, besides the fact that we just married, that was an amazing, amazing day. And if you want to catch some glimpses of the big day, I posted some things yesterday on our Facebook and Instagram pages, so you can go check those out. I found out this morning that our next move date is going to be June 5th. So before I forget, we'll not have a Q&A during June because my house will be packed and we'll be on the road on that day. So yeah, that's our June 3rd, I think, is the Wednesday, but we will be up to our nose in boxes with our house getting packed June 3rd and 4th. So we'll not be having Q&A in June, and we will be on the road by probably June 5th. I think that's the day. So it's going to be very interesting moving 6 cats across the country to the East Coast to Chesapeake, Virginia, which is where we will be for at least 2-3 years before we'll see what my husband's next military move will be. So that's kind of what's going on our end. Lots of changes, lots of excitement, it's all good stuff. It's just a busy time, and it's going to be interesting to see them in their new house, which we already have secured. It's ours, it's waiting for us, and so it'll be cool to see how the cats find their spaces. And it has a beautiful backyard with lots of plants and raised garden beds and trees and shrubs, and so they'll have a lot of interaction with birds and squirrels and probably some raccoons and maybe some bunnies. We'll see. Lots of wildlife where we're going to be, and I hope they'll enjoy finding their space, their spots. I think it might be a little bit easier in some way because this house belonged to Serena and Franklin, and these guys moved in, right? So in the new place, it's nobody's house. They're going to all have to find their place. And it's big enough so they're going to have lots of room, which is great. So we'll see how that goes. Well, hello, Aylin. And Aylin wants to come in. You want to come in? You're gonna get on the floor? You gonna hang out? Okay, maybe she will, maybe she won't. Anyway, so let's talk about your cats. What is going on in your world that you want some advice, some help, some ideas from, or ideas to remedy, to try, all that stuff. Let me know what your thoughts are. And let's see. I'm going to come over here to comments. And okay, Single Feminist Cat Mom says, thank you. Congratulations on your beautiful wedding. Thank you so much. I have to say, that was the most amazing day of my life. And I mean that with total sincerity. And when I told that to John, he sat there for a second, he thought about it, he goes, I think it is for me too. It was surreal to go through that experience. It was so fun. It was a long stay, but it didn't fly by. We were very present and just like being in the moment throughout the entire day, as things, went through the whole timeline of what we had scheduled out. And we ended up, after the wedding was over, probably like 9:30, 9 o'clock, 9:30, something like that. There was about 7 or 8 of us that went to a local Texas dance hall, our favorite spot that we go to a lot, in our wedding attire, and we went dancing for another hour and a half. So it was really, really cool. It was like a topper, the icing on the cake for the whole day. It was such a fun experience. And so we are enjoying looking at all the pictures and all the videos, and we have more coming from our videographer and our photographer in the very near future that will be sharing. But that was a truly amazing experience. It was a very long weekend. We needed we probably could use another day to recover, honestly. It was very busy, but it was awesome. So thank you so much. Okay, let's talk about your cats. What is going on in your world that we want to discuss today? There are emotional, like I gave you guys examples of what we're struggling with over here. It's the real world. We deal with cats. Cats are not small dogs, and they can be challenging. They're kind of like children. They all have their own personalities. We have to just honor and respect who they are and meet them where they are, and not expect them to rise to our expectations. So I think that's certainly real important to think about and to remember. As far as maybe from the health side of things, do you guys have any food issues going on? Any GI issues? Are you working on gut health? Are you working on diet changes? Are you dealing with as an ill pet, like a long-term health problem? Are you looking at ways to support maybe the senior cat in your life? So there's all these different things that we could talk about, and I've got some good resources for you if you want to learn more. I can direct you somewhere where you can do some more digging. We've also got a lot of really good videos on our YouTube channel if you wanted to just deep dive on some things over there, specifically even on targeted health issues like kidney and heart and bladder issues, the common things that a lot of cats struggle with, pancreatitis and so on. So yeah, there's so many things in the cat health world and wellness world that we could talk about. I want to also let you know that we're going to be doing a deep dive on deworming on the podcast this month. So if you have questions about that whole process, there's conventional thought behind deworming, and then there's more integrative, holistic thought about deworming, how often and if it's needed and why and when and all that good stuff. So we're going to talk about that, parasites, internal parasites and deworming, because we've had a few questions about that. It was a great topic to discuss on the podcast. So we're going to go for that here in 3 weeks. So let's see. Bonnie, how are you doing? How are the boys? How is Prince and Jasper? Are they doing all right? And then you guys who are watching on Instagram, again, if you want to drop a question over here, let me know. I can scroll down and I can see everything over here. Let me see if does anybody else have any thoughts, even on what I've already shared. Share your experiences, because the more we can share, the more we can help other people who might be struggling with the same thing. We just don't know what people are going through. It's called life. It's going to happen. So that's what we're here to support each other with. So, okay, cool. Hello, everybody on Instagram. Thank you guys for popping in. We're talking about your cats and questions, struggles, anything that might be going on that you want to share, talk about, ask advice, get some ideas, tips, or whatever. So that's why we're here. And if you're just popping in, remember, I will not be doing a live in June due to a move across the country. So we'll pick it back up July Okay. Okay, let me see if there is anything over here. Have you guys noticed anything energetically going on? I know there's a lot of weird energy right now with this fire horse. Things are speeding up. It can feel very tense. It can feel very overwhelming. So, are you noticing any differences behavior wise with your cats or how you're feeling? Um, and those can translate into emotional things, behavioral things, even GI things, just because of the stress that they hold in their belly. So keep that in mind. Okay, stand up paddle yoga Christy says, what is the least fishy omega-1 I can give? That's a very good question. I'm thinking, hold on. Nordic Naturals has a pet, what, omega-3. I think it's sardine anchovy oil. I think that's what the flavor is. And it's not super overwhelming, so that might be one to look at. Um, Let me hold on. I'm gonna go have a list. Let me see if I can find it. Just a second. Y'all bear with me. And let me see if I can. I think I wrote it down. It's in my head. I just don't know if I can access that information off the top of my head. Okay, let's see here. What you could also do is check with Adored Beast. They have one called Potency Omega-3, and ask them if it smells super fishy or if it doesn't. Oh, and there's another one. Oh, okay, hold on. There's another one that I have used in the past, and it doesn't have the fishy smell. They take the fishy smell out. I'm gonna hang on a second. Omega-3 oil for pets. I'm gonna do a quick search and see if I can find. It is commonly in like the natural pet stores. I'm just looking over here. Hang on. Hey Breeze. Hey Breeze. I may have it in one other place. Hang on. Breeze, are you all right? Okay, let's see. I can see it in my head. Don't you hate that? It's right there in my head and I can't remember what it's called. It comes in a box and it's a bottle with a pump. Hold on. Let's see. Well, shoot. I haven't bought it in so long. Almost through my list. Hey, let's see. Shoot. I don't see it. I cannot remember. If I think of it, I'll let you know. Okay, she says, we did use that one. That was in Nordic Naturals. It worked for a while, but not sure if it got old. It was more fishy. Here's the thing to remember about anytime you open omega-3 fish oil, you want to get the small bottle unless you have a lot of pets, and you can go through that pretty fast because those oils will oxidize the moment you open it. So if it's in your refrigerator, I would keep it in the refrigerator for sure because it will slow that oxidation process. So when they start to turn their nose up to things, it may be because it's oxidizing, it's going rancid. So that may be the case in your situation. Maybe it was starting to go rancid a little bit because they smelled that. Um, so maybe buy another small bottle and see if you can use it up within like 3 to 4 weeks at the most. Keep it in the refrigerator if you didn't. And let me just go see. Um, okay, she says he doesn't like fish and turns his nose up if I add it to his food. Yeah, some cats just don't like the fish. She says, I keep mine in the fridge. And Millie's raw live. Hey, how you doing? She goes, keep mine in the fridge to try to prevent it from going rancid. Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Are y'all talking to Aylin and Breeze, right? And so that's now you say he doesn't like fish. I know it's fish, but have you ever offered sardines? Does he like sardines either? Like sardines in a can? That's food. Sometimes, some cats just don't like fish, but sardines, sometimes they like sardines. Maybe it's other types of fish. Mine love the sardines, and I tend to give them the sardines instead of fish oil right now because I've run into similar problems in the past. Some don't like it, some do. Sometimes you can hide a drop or two in the food, sometimes you can't. So, yeah, I would just try the Nordic Naturals again in a small bottle and see if you can just use it up quicker so it doesn't go rancid. Sardines, the sardines that I buy are from the grocery store. They're sardines in water. And sometimes I'll get was it Planet something? I can't remember the brand. Y'all, I don't grocery shop anymore. My husband does all the grocery shopping, like almost all the time. Something Planet. And then sometimes he gets Beach Cliff. Wild Planet, thank you, Wild Planet, and yeah, sardines and water. They're loaded. Sardines are like so underrated. They're so high in nutrition. They're great in essential fatty acids. It's just a really, really good something that you can feed that's food based instead of feed based, which is awesome. So yeah. Even if you start with a little bit, they might prefer food instead of a supplement. And you can just, how many, maybe a half to one a day. So yeah, play with it and see if they like it. You can just cut down on a little bit of their regular food portion if you're going to add the sardines. But, sometimes it's a great snack. So you can just play with how you want to try mixing and adding it in. But I love the food options instead of trying to always get a supplement in them. Sometimes they're more receptive to that, if that makes sense. Let me go over here. I'll come back to Instagram just a second. Millie's Raw Life says I get the whole ones and mince them into tiny pieces. I've done that before, but I feed the cats on one of those Mind Pet platters. So I can make like a charcuterie. I spread their food out, but I'll literally place little clumps of the sardines, and they love it. You can even put a whole sardine down, and they know how to eat it. You don't have to always cut it up for them. So that might be kind of fun to try as well. Let me see. Bonnie says minnow munchies. Minnow munchies are freeze dried though, so I think it's not quite the same as the fresh products or the product that's already moist and in its original semi-original state. Yes, it's been cooked, but that's why I prefer the food instead of the freeze dried when it comes to that, because I feel like they do a little bit more with it. Over here on YouTube, Single Feminist Cat Mom says, my boo became my fur angel in February. Oh, from an IVD flare from new kittens I brought into our home. It caused oh my gosh, hepatic lipidosis and triaditis. Oh my gosh, I thought it was under control. Oh, I'm so sorry. That is so hard. Know that First of all, heart goes out to you because that is the worst. Um, Cats can get very upset and imprint those negative emotions onto what they're eating, which can cause the pancreatic flare up. It can cause them to stop wanting to eat because they imprint that negative energy onto their food. And, it's what I have discovered in the work that I do from an energetic perspective. It's all about vibration. So, this is something very good for you guys to all can just think about and just kind of set it aside, because you never know when this might be coming back and makes really makes sense to you in real life. So fresh food is a very high vibration energy because it hasn't been processed. Okay. Or like frozen, fresh, raw commercial food, minimally processed. If and it works down. So like your gently cooked is a little less high, and underneath that you have your canned food, which is processed, so that vibration drops even further. And then your dry food, your kibble, is very low vibration food. So cats will tend, not in all cases, but in a lot of the time, they will tend to eat at the level of their vibe. So if they're a high vibe, happy cat that's not bothered by stuff, not very sensitive, they don't necessarily imprint those negative emotions onto their food as much as other cats do. So if they're eating a raw diet, for example, and the vibe matches that, they're good. But if you have a cat like Boo, who obviously got very, very upset from new kittens, and it was a shutdown mode, his vibe went from here to here, and they match that food anymore, so they're not going to eat. They're not going to eat that level. So in those cases, you may have to go to something like freeze dried, which is not kibble, but it's dried. It doesn't have the moisture. It doesn't have the same vibration as the fresh or the gently cooked foods. So something to keep in mind if you have a cat that's super sensitive and they're refusing their regular food. Think of that like a ladder, a stairwell, a stair step down. Where do they fall on that ladder with their emotional state? And see if you can match the food type to the emotional state, because that, in a lot of cases, will work. I was giving examples of the emotional energy between my females that we are integrating for the past 4 months. And when they are upset and their vibe drops, they don't want their raw, they will not eat their raw food. So I have to either do a lot of energy clearing work, which is a thing, or I feed them something like a canned food or a freeze-dried food instead, and they will go eat that. But they won't eat the fresh food because their vibe doesn't match. Does that make sense? That's just what I have experienced and I have seen time and time and time and time again. And it just hit me one day. I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't want it because their vibe doesn't match. So something to think about if you run into a situation, hopefully not, but it might be helpful down the road. Hi, baby. Single feminist cat mom says she uses Dr. McCullough krill oil. Yes, that has been a very good product. I don't know if they're still sourcing the same as it was before when Dr. Becker was formulating for them, but I know in the past it was an excellent oil. She says, I feed small batch raw. I do too. I feed, right now we're on lamb, and we also do a little Darwin's. We do a little Viva Raw. That's pretty much their raw. So those 3 brands I'm mixing and combining on a daily basis, and that's working out well, giving them some variety too. Okay, let me go back up here. I think I missed something. Yes, Bonnie says, how do you feel about Convenia antibiotic? Do you mean Serenia? I think Convenia is is that right? Serenia? No, Serenia is nausea. Convenia is the antibiotic. You're right. Okay, let me get my medications straight. Not a fan. Obviously, not a fan of convenient, not a fan of antibiotics or medication when we have other options. But I understand why people well, let me say this. I understand why vets use that. It's because it's something that they were trained to use. And they don't really have a variety in their toolbox when it comes to natural options for treating infections and things like that. So, if you have experience with homeopathy, homeopathy can actually clear up infections because it balances the body's vital force to reset, and in the infection dissipates, it dissolves, the body gets rid of it because you are stimulating the body's vital force to do the work. So you don't need an antibiotic if you're using a homeopathic for a specific type of infection situation. You have to know which remedy to use, and sometimes working with a homeopath can be extremely helpful and help streamline that whole process. The other thing that I like to use is Oxycat by Feel Essential instead of the Convenia, because I feel like that also it's an excellent product. It's antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal. So that would be an option. If you're looking at doing something topically, I even like colloidal silver. I'm not a super fan of colloidal silver internally, especially on a long-term basis, because it does destroy the good gut flora, because it attacks all kinds of bacteria, good and bad. And that's something that I learned from Dr. Karen Becker. So I stopped really using the colloidal silver internally, but I'll use the Oxycat, and I will use homeopathy. I will use colloidal silver topically, or something like Meow Mist, things like that. That would be a topical type of antibiotic. It's a natural. It's a natural product that works against infection and things like that. It's antibacterial. So does that make sense? I hope that came out right. Let's see. Scroll. All right. Okay, we came down here to where we're talking about, I think we were talking about fresh food, and Sup Yoga Christie says even fresh frozen. And I think we were still talking about the foods. Yes, fresh frozen is still very high vibe. When you're talking about raw commercial cat food, it's minimally processed. And if you ever go to a vet and they ask you, like, let's say you feed raw food, right? And they're asking you, what kind of diet is your cat on? You don't have to say raw. You can say fresh food. You can say minimally processed food, because sometimes they get really, really weird and they look at you like you have 3 heads. And then they go in the back and they put on like hazmat suits to handle your cat, thinking it's contagious with something terrible that's going to get everybody sick, which is so beyond ridiculous I can't even express. So if you just want to avoid that whole awkward situation, because vets aren't taught the benefits and the safety about commercial raw pet food having a 0 tolerance for pathogens, they just assume it's going to have pathogens. Just say your cat eats a fresh diet or minimally processed diet, and then you can kind of get around that. Most of the time they won't even ask what that means. Let's see. Did I get everybody's questions so far? I think I did. Just go down here. Sorry, I'm scrolling. Did I miss anybody? I don't want to miss anybody. It's really tiny on the screen. So make sure I didn't miss. Okay. All right. All right. Well, those were really good questions. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about or go over? Question? I just spilled. That was great. Breeze, how are you feeling, baby? Are you good? Are you good? You want to come say hi? Come say hi. Come say hi. Yes. Come here. Oh. Oh. Come here. Here, let's sit. Let's sit. Let's sit. Hi. Hi. Okay. It's like having a child. Okay. Okay, somebody says, Yoga Christy says, I do. You have a question? What question do you have? Or what is that answer to? Because I don't know. She says, my Ripple's recent blood and urine analysis was showing higher phosphorus and sodium. Huh. Okay. That wants to stay kidney diet. Start. I'm guessing you want to say start kidney diet. High phosphorus and sodium. Okay, there's a product that I want you guys to go look up. It's by Bloom Bioscience, and it's let me get it because I don't remember the name of it. Hang on. Okay. I think it's this one. Okay. Okay. If your cat is having elevated kidney levels, I want you to go to the website and I want you to try the HydroLife. The guy behind this company has done a ton of research. He is a researcher by nature in his field, and he did a ton of research on cats with kidney disease. And he found that we have to stabilize the blood. As we get older, the blood gets thicker, and it can cause problems downstream. What I mean by that, a lot of times cats who develop kidney issues, there's problems upstream. So things are happening before the blood gets filtered through the kidneys. So I call it upstream. Something is going on up here, and by the time it's coming down through the kidneys, it's thicker, it's heavier, it's not as, what's the word? I can't think of the word. It's not like your normal healthy. So he recommends HydroLife, and I think it's an excellent product. I've actually have clients who use this that have helped reverse their cat's kidney issues as well as their heart issues. So viscous, thank you. It's not as viscous. Ripple has heart disease, HCM. I want you to go get this and put him on HydroLife. And there's also, if you can reach out through the Bloom website, reach out to Chris, he's the owner, and tell him your cat has the HCM, and he will actually tell you the additional product that he would recommend. I've had another client whose cat had heart problems, heart disease, that totally reversed after being on products for a little while, a few weeks. And they did ultrasounds before and after. They did the testing before and after, and the vets were just stumped, like mystified, like, oh my gosh, he doesn't have the heart issue anymore. So that's where I would go. I would go talk to Chris at Bloom Bioscience, and he will guide you. She says, okay, I'll try it again. Unfortunately, he got runny poops. Reach out to Chris and tell him what, maybe it was just too much. Maybe scale it back. You know what I mean? So sometimes we have to start a little bit slower, but if it was just little runnier stools, we can probably address that with other things to help solidify those stools a little bit, whether that's homeopathy or just adjusting the amount that he was taking in every day. But Chris would be the perfect person to have the conversations with. So that's what I would recommend, because he knows his products so well, and he knows how they work in the body and what affects what. And that's not my wheelhouse, and he's brilliant. He's really brilliant. I did a whole interview with him on our YouTube channel when we talked about cats with heart disease and kidney disease. Um, and it was last year, so sometime in 2025. I think it was the summer, fall timeline, something like that. So go check it out. Check out their stuff, because it's really, really good. And I think just those other little symptoms that you had might be able to be, if we tweak some things, I think you could probably be fine. That's what I would suggest. Okay, let's see. Okay, have to run. Well, thank you for stopping in. Oh, thank you guys for the congrats. And hi, Vicky. How are you? Okay, over here. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming by. Yeah, okay, how are we doing on time, you guys? Oh, she says, congratulations. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate that. We were talking earlier how much fun it was. It was probably the best day of my life. And it was the best day of John's life. And it was surreal. It was magical. It was amazing. We had so much fun. So many great memories. Yeah, I can't stop smiling, because it was a really amazing time. So thank you so much for the well wishes and congrats. Yeah, look for more videos and pictures to come on our channel soon. So we'll share some more as we get them. So yeah, okay. Any other questions? I know we had some more people join. Thank you guys so much. Anybody else on Facebook or YouTube have any questions? And if you guys are finding this information helpful, share the show out. If you're on the YouTube, like, share, subscribe. We can get more eyes on this content. It will help more people, and that's great. It's the best way to help the channel as well. So we appreciate your support. And Vicky says, did your kitties participate in the wedding? No, they stayed home. They stayed home. We were at a venue about 30 minutes away, so no, they did not get to come. I don't think they would appreciate it as much as we would. Okay, but over here on YouTube, Single Feminist Cat Mom says, I wish I had found you a few years ago before I found Dr. Jeff's recent conference, which was great. Thank you. Yes, Dr. Jeff is amazing. We've done some really good interviews, especially on vaccination. So if you have hesitation or concerns about vaccines, go check out our show with Dr. Jeff on vaccines. And I think that was, it was last year, the year before. It was like April. It was like March, April, May, February, April, either last year or the year before. Fantastic. I think it was 2 years ago. Fantastic information. So yeah, it is pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. And when you're empowered, you can make educated decisions. So that was really cool. Okay, Dominica says, my kitty keeps getting an abscess near his anal. They suggested some anal gland fiber. Any suggestions? Well, I think first and foremost, do you know why he keeps getting an abscess there? Is he licking? Is he over grooming? Did he have an injury there that just isn't healing? Because it is kind of in a weird place that is hard to heal based on, just close proximity to a lot of E. coli bacteria and things like that, and getting dirty and such. So, but yes, I would personally use homeopathy. I would find a remedy that matches that type of abscess, and you can go online and you can type in a search homeopathy for abscess. Don't put near tail, just describe it. Is it under the skin? Is it red? Is it oozing? What does it look like? Because you will find some really interesting websites that have homeopathic remedies with their rubrics, which is basically descriptions of what that remedy matches. So it might say, you know, the abscess is under the skin, it's just a raised bump, or it might be raw, or it might be oozing pus, it might be a certain color, black, you know, so match the symptoms of that specific abscess to the remedies, and they will list them out and put each one with their own description. And then of course I muscle test everything so I can get through it really quickly, and figure out which one the body wants and which ones it doesn't. So that helps streamline the process. If it's too much licking, then I would peel back another layer and go, well, why is he licking so much? Is it histamine? Is it itching? How's his overall immune system? Is he scratching and itching all the time? This is just like he's scratching himself raw. Is he doing this in other places, or is it just the tail area? So there's all these factors. The more details that you can peel back and say, why is this happening? You're going to be able to get to a quicker resolution by addressing the root cause. The other thing you can do is something like the Oxycat on a cotton ball, and maybe do that 4 or 5 times a day. Just treat that area. You can even do that in addition to the remedy that you select. But we've got to figure out why he's licking too much and how to get him to stop licking. And typically that says to me there's an underlying issue, maybe an immune system imbalance that's causing a lot of histamine release that's making him itch there. So he's scratching or he's over grooming and licking too much in that spot. So figure that out. You know, I mean, food sensitivities can do weird things to the body and cause a lot of discomfort and itching and irritation. So you may want to look at foods. You may want to look at what he's exposed to in the environment. You may want to look at toxins in his body that might be contributing to some sort of imbalance, because you can try to treat the abscess over and over again, but until you treat why there's an abscess, it's going to keep probably coming back. So that would be I know that's not a direct answer, but I'm trying to get people to think about things from a different perspective so that you guys can get some results. Because otherwise it's like you're on this Ferris wheel that you're stuck and you can't get off. You know what I'm saying? So that would be my first way of take a different view of looking at the situation. That has always helped tremendously. And you know, if your vet can't give you the whys, just like all the rest of us have had to do, we've had to go online, we've had to dig in, we've had to research, and we've had to figure it out ourselves, because they don't always have the answers, and what they're doing doesn't always help, if that makes sense. So don't be afraid to pull up your bootstraps, dig in, ask a ton of questions, and you may have to go figure it out yourself in some cases. So I hope that helps give you some more to think about. Okay, anything else? We are almost out of time. This has been so cool. You're very welcome. And keep me posted. Let us know. Again, not next month. We're not going to be here next month. I'll be moving. But July, you know, when we hop back on a live, let me know how things are going, or send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook, or just make a comment and tag me in your post if you're doing any of that, and keep me updated, because I'm curious to know how that works out. Okay, I think my girls have all left the room. Yep, I don't see them. I think they're gone. So I think we're going to wrap it up, guys. Any final thoughts, any final questions before we close for the day? I hope you guys have a great month of May. check out our podcast on the internal parasites and deworming later this month. And look for updates from wedding and look for updates on our exciting move coming at the beginning of next month. I'll try to be as present as I can on social media just to kind of keep everybody in the loop. Hello, you're back. Okay, she wants something. So I better let you guys go. Okay, well, you guys have a great night, and we will see you see you in July for Q&A. But until next time, y'all have a great night, and give your kitty some love from us, okay? Lots of kisses, and we'll see you soon. Bye, y'all.